Okay. There was some good stuff on this show. But man, was there some shit. Oh, God.
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and then open the make.
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is more than I've said this in a long time. This is a straight 50-50 Raw tonight. This is your January 12th Monday Night Raw, part of the Road Sign series, and thank you guys so much for coming along for the ride. Start off the night with a recap of last week with Ziggler, Ryback, and Rowan getting fired, and then we go to the announcers very briefly to reinforce the fact that it is now Michael Cole, Booker T, and JBL on commentary on Raw, which is going to lead to SmackDown this coming Thursday for the United States, Wednesday for me here in Canada, that's going to have Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, and Byron Saxton. Okay, so we start with Cena because that's what WWE does. Booed like crazy when he comes out. Mentions that they haven't been in New Orleans since WrestleMania, says he's all about fun tonight, says he doesn't... not that he doesn't feel the need, but he stands by his choice to save Edge and bring back the Authority. Goes on a tangent about Triple H and how Triple H is as good as he says he is. He's a former multi-time champion, first ballot Hall of Famer and all that, and he's disappointed in him because in all of this, he's going to be reminded as remembered as a sniveling little weasel in a suit and all that sort of thing. Talks about the three guys that got fired. Asks the crowd if they want Ziggler back, taunting the Authority, saying that, you know, the Authority says they listen to the crowd, so let's see if they listen now. Do you guys want Ziggler back? And we get yes chants, and this is the first of many things I'm going to say about this tonight. These are yes chants. Yes chants are a WWE thing. Yes chants happen whether or not Daniel Bryan is there, and yes chants happen for people other than Daniel Bryan. So this is also a thing. Calls Triple H and the Authority deaf, blind, and stupid, and says that when he wins the Royal Rumble triple threat match, he's going to basically pull a CM Punk, take his ball, take the title, and go home. I guess the idea being we're supposed to rally behind Cena because he's bringing back people that we actually want to see, whereas we don't want to see him, and you know, now we're gonna want Cena back because it's gonna mean that these guys come back, and he's copying the CM Punk story verbatim, which is kind of sad. Triple H, and he also wants hashtag Authority Sucks to start trending on Twitter, which is very mature. Triple H and Stephanie come out. Stephanie immediately mocks the hashtag idea and says the three guys that we fired last night will have to watch you win the title and go home so that their loss will be for nothing. You'll be turning on the fans like you turn on everybody else. Triple H says, I expected more from you. You convinced these guys to back you, and when you won, we didn't cry and bitch and moan about being fired. We found a way to come back. The Authority always wins. Rollins used you, you're selfish, and the fact that you're a hero is laughable. We didn't want to fire them. We keep our promises. He asks the crowd, how bad do you want them back? He says, all you have to do is win your match tonight, and we will bring them back. And John Cena goes into, like, exaggeration mode. Oh, what are you going to do? Put me in a 5-on-1 handicap match? So he's like, no. You have a one-on-one match with the guy that has been using you to bring us back, Seth Rollins, and it's going to be a lumberjack match, and it's going to be right now, and we have some excited lumberjacks. Come back from the break, and of course it's all heel lumberjacks. There's Titus O'Neil and Wade Barrett, Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel from NXT, Curtis Axel, who is now an NXT guy, Cesaro, etc., etc., etc. But for the NXT butthurt that are watching this show tonight, you got some NXT representation actually a couple of times tonight. We're going to touch on that later. Oh my god, this match, Cena versus... I love Rollins. Rollins is trapped in this. And I'm going to go through this verbatim so that anybody that didn't watch this show can suffer with me. Collar and elbow tie-up. Really, really slow start. Stomps and rights and lefts by Rollins. Same from Cena, along with a very, very lackluster bulldog. On the outside, the Lumberjacks beat down on Cena, and their efforts lead to a near fall by Rollins. Slow punch and kick owning of Cena. Rollins is tossed over the top rope and untouched by the Lumberjacks just to hit home the one-sided story. Rollins takes his time, slowing down, slowing his punches, one at a time. The crowd can really get into it. Cena obviously comes out with the 5 moves of doom, the 5 knuckle shuffle, and the attitude adjustment. The lumberjacks pull Rollins to the outside and take care of him, and Cena splashes all of them because he thinks he's a high flyer for 5 seconds, which is wonderful. We see a really, really dirty looking boot from Rollins, which is nice. Rollins, in one of the best points of in one of the only good points, I should say, of this match, Cena is up trying to do the, he's going to try and suplex him off the top rope or something like that. Rollins counters it into what I've got written here as a top rope sunset flip opposite turnbuckle powerbomb on John Cena that gets a near fall. John Cena's reply to that is probably the sloppiest spinebuster I have ever seen. Oh yes, slugfest attitude adjustment, which Rollins counters into a standing sliced bread number 2 for a near fall. Attitude adjustment, near fall. J&J security pulls Cena off of the pin, which is why it's a near fall. Cesaro, who's one of the lumberjacks, grabs Cena, does a Cesaro swing with Cena into the guardrail, which looks nice. Curb stomp and an I can speak, I swear. Curb stomp is countered into the STF. Kane saves Rollins from the STF. Big Show pulls out Cena on the other side, hits him with the WMD punch. Rollins gets the win. The guys don't get hired back. And I look at my clock. And when I can look at my clock and say that Cena opened the show and that Cena has been on my television now for 36 straight minutes, it doesn't bode very well for the show, does it? We go to the commentators who say that Daniel Bryan is here, which, you know, has me ecstatic. And we're also going to have a contract signing for the triple threat match of the Royal Rumble, which I'm sure will go off without a hitch. The Usos and Dean Ambrose are with Sorry, guys. The Usos and Dean Ambrose are with Stephanie in the back. The Usos are like, okay, so we spoke out on SmackDown about what you did on Raw. What's our punishment going to be? She says, you guys don't have any punishment. You know, get out of here. I'm just, you know, I just wanted to let you know I wasn't happy about it. Oh, but Naomi's going to be in a match tonight and her arm's going to be tied behind her back. So Jimmy's all pissed off and wonderful. As for Ambrose, Ambrose has an appointment with a doctor of abnormal psych, and if he doesn't pass this psych eval, he's not in the Rumble match. Fantastic. Miz cuts, and he did a couple of these throughout the night that I really didn't pay. Miz is my boy, you guys know this, but the Golden Globes have no interest in me whatsoever, so him making jokes about the Golden Globes and how he's friends with George Lucas and one day George Lucas is going to get a Slammy doesn't really matter to me. We go back to the office where the psych eval is being held. We see the doctor ask Dean Ambrose, "What? I want to know what makes your clock tick." In which case, he winds up an actual clock, sets it on the table, and we go to break. Kinda useless, which makes me think that these psych promos are going to be really dumb. I was wrong, thank God. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, who apparently are being called the masters of the WWE Universe, even though I didn't see that said on the show, which is good. I don't know why they're associated with Adam Rose and the Exotic Express, but they're out there as well, versus Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day with Big E on the outside. Kofi takes them both on outside the ring to start the match, which is strange. Cesaro tosses Kofi into a pendulum kick by Kidd once they get back in the ring. It's a nice looking double team spot. Kidd hits a springboard elbow drop on Kofi and then rides a headlock. A double team by Cesaro and Kidd. Cesaro boots Woods off the apron to make sure that he can't come in for the save. A Cesaro swing into a low drop kick by Tyson Kidd on Kofi gets a near fall. Hot tag to Woods, who hits that rolling clothesline thing, Power Ranger thing that he used to do on NXT. On Kidd and hits a kick to Cesaro. Roll up exchange between Woods and Kidd is kind of almost mildly entertaining. Woods holds Tyson Kidd up in a prone position for Kofi Kingston to hit a double foot stomp for the win. The New Day get the win, and it's announced. Okay, not gonna bash Macho Man because that's not what this is about, but they announce now that it's expected that later on we're going to get the announcement of Macho Man going into the Hall of Fame. So we're announcing now that we're going to get an announcement later. And there's a bunch of guys, and this happens more than once in the night too, a bunch of people do Macho Man impressions. And I don't care what you think of him, or them rather, but if you don't give it to Roman Reigns, you got to give it to The Miz, because those two guys do the best Macho Man impressions ever. I mean, the bickering between the Bellas, the fact that Kane flat out won't do it, the fact that Paige is just awesome at her own thing, the fact that Daniel Bryan sucks, It's a good little comedy bit, and for those people who are legitimate, like, oh my god, I've been watching this guy since the day before forever, it's a nice little thing. It's announced that next week is going to be Raw Reunion for reasons, I suppose. Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and Scott Hall are all going to be there, among others. I wonder what happened to Kevin Nash. Oh yes, and if a show that started out with 32 minutes or 36 minutes of John Cena wasn't bad enough, we have Big Show out to do a promo, which... yeah... He comes out to loud and venomous, "You sold out and Big Show sucks" chant. Cuts a very typical big man, all men are not created equal. Starts talking about how people go to their first day of work and they expect to keep the job by the end of the day. He went to his first day of work and beat Hulk Hogan for the world title, which nobody cares about because he wasn't the Big Show back then, and it was WCW, which is a dead company, which makes all accomplishments there irrelevant. So, tells the fans that they're all losers. Uses a lot of workplace, office place metaphors that really don't go anywhere. He says Roman Reigns is a loser like the Knicks, which I would care about if I cared about the Knicks. I'm going to knock him out. Pretty generic. He's a loser. His fans are losers. Pretty generic. Roman Reigns comes out and Big Show leaves automatically. Roman Reigns pulls his punk card immediately, says, "I don't want your spot. I want a spot better than your spot. I remember you beating Hulk Hogan. I was 12 at the time." So not only is Big Show slow and boring, he's old. He tells a story about little boy Roman Reigns planting a beanstalk, does the whole Jack and the Beanstalk cliche, but he says, in my case, instead of going for the goose that laid the golden egg, or the harp, or the gold coins, I just wanted to beat up the Giant. The Giant was a loser, and he ran away. Big Show is on the ramp, not saying much, and he sort of waves it off, and we see Luke Harper come out for his match with Roman Reigns, and Big Show hangs out at ringside. So, Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns, big guy versus two athletic big guys going at it. I'm tired, and the show did nothing to keep me awake, so if I misspeak, it's not entirely my fault, is it? Harper mauls Roman in the corner to start the match. He turns the tables with brawling and a Samoan drop on Harper. Harper does several shots to Roman's throat, both palm thrusts and individual, like, thumbs and fingers to the throat. Like, nasty looking stuff, to be fair. I like Luke Harper, so this makes sense. Roman Reigns puts on a headlock and then starts ramming Harper's head into his knee, which is great, and finishes it off with a big vertical suplex. A slingshot senton by Luke Harper looks fantastic. Harper rides the headlock for a long time. Two elbow tackles and a clothesline by Roman, a neck breaker and a near fall by Roman, a boot by Harper, a scoop side slam and a near fall by Roman Reigns. Show starts tossing around the office chairs outside because Giant. Okay. Side slam and a near fall by Harper, Superman punch and an apron drop kick by Roman Reigns. Show distracts Roman Reigns. Super kick by Harper gets him a near fall. Comes back. Clothesline is countered into a spear. Roman Reigns gets the win, and he's jumped by Show after the match and gets the WMD punch, which, if you listen to commentary, is a big victory for Show because he's been trying to punch Roman Reigns for several weeks. Big Show's the veteran. Roman Reigns is the new guy. It's taken you weeks to punch him. That's not a victory. I'm just saying. Naomi with one arm tied behind her back versus Alicia Fox is an overbooked piece of crap used to overbook Naomi. I know. She's the new cliche one to cheer for. I know. Some people are going crazy because she got a big ass. Neither of which is... You know, I've called the Usos the John Cenas of the tag team division, and it is rubbing off on Naomi for reasons that For reasons. No reason at all. No reason. We go back to the psych evaluation where the psychologist tells Dean Ambrose that he's going to do some image association, and before he can even pull out the cards, Dean Ambrose says, "Thursday!" making fun of the commercials that they've been using to hype up SmackDown moving to Thursday nights in the States. Makes me laugh because Thursday has no meaning for me up here because we're getting it on Wednesday. Eat it. But he pulls out some cards and he starts going, and he starts doing the Thursday thing over and over. Triple H, he says, when he pulls out the card that says Triple H, he says, "Irritable bowel syndrome." pulls out one that says, pulls out a picture of Rollins, scumbag. Pulls out a picture of Roman Reigns, brother. Pulls out a picture of Kane and he says, toothpaste. I was looking down at this point when he said toothpaste. I swear to God I was going to look up and see a card with Sheamus on it, but that's not a thing. Randomly pulls out a picture of Hacksaw Jim Duggan and says, ho! And we pull out a picture of Stephanie with the same result. Hilarity is sure. Heyman and Lesnar come out to cut a promo. Talks about being in New Orleans, being the scene of the crime. He replays the streak ending. It was the death of a myth and the rise of a beast. I like that. That's a nice little, what do you want to call it, soundbite that I'm sure they will use in every promo leading up to WrestleMania for the next 3 months. He lists off the accomplishments of Brock Lesnar: NCAA Division I champion, undisputed UFC champion, and undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Championship holder. Nobody else has even done 2 of these. Nobody has done all 3 of these. And then he goes back to the old, my client, Brock Lesnar, conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, and I laughed a lot. I also laughed when he said the entire WWE company as a whole has been Disney-fied. That made me laugh. Goes on and he closes out the promo by saying Brock Lesnar has made a career out of destroying myths. Taker's streak was a myth, Cena's hustle, loyalty, and respect is a myth, and Rollins being the undisputed future of the company is a myth. I like that. I like that a lot. Jey Uso versus The Miz was a shit match. The only thing that was even remotely good on it was Miz's psychology, and I'm not saying that to be biased. He works the leg in preparation for the figure 4. Uso gets distracted on the outside by something. I really don't care. Skull-crushing finale. The only good thing I can say about this is the right guy won. Daniel Bryan comes out, and I need one of these. Just saying, I need one of these to stay awake, to get through Raw for reasons. Daniel Bryan comes out gloating like an idiot about WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to win again this year because, you know, just putting things on repeat and recycling them is going to make WWE really exciting. I love Stephanie McMahon because she comes out and she interrupts Daniel Bryan and she's getting booed out of the building by the crowd. Her immediate response is, I love you guys too. Gives Daniel Bryan a WWE Fit Series DVD featuring Stephanie McMahon, which is great. She says it's good for all athletic levels in case you're not feeling fit enough for the Rumble. You won WrestleMania last year, and then you got a reality check. She replays Kane tombstoning Daniel Bryan on the floor, on the steps, on the ramp, on the table, and it just makes me smile every time. She says, you've been gone 8 months. You are average just like these fans, and even the belief of your unborn box troll children can't help you at the Royal Rumble, which is nice. Daniel Bryan does a half-assed job of mocking the DVD, goes for a cheap Duggan pop, you know, stealing the thunder from what Dean Ambrose just did, goes over his pity party story one more time that I do not give a shit about. These fans are with me, I'm with them, they want stuff and I want stuff, and I'm with them and they want me to have obnoxious yes chants that we've already used tonight for Dolph Ziggler. And he says, Stephanie finally says, the one thing the silver spoon in my mouth bought me is an education. You're not very smart, and to prove it, you're not going to debut at the Royal Rumble. You're going to debut this Thursday, for me, Wednesday, on SmackDown against Kane. Kane comes out, they have a super half-ass brawl where, logically, the big guy gets the advantage, because Daniel Bryan is small. Daniel Bryan eats fucking steel steps to the face. But because he is the other John Cena, steel steps to the face doesn't face him. He makes a bullshit comeback, including a suicide dive, no selling the steps, and no selling the beatdown. And please, I'm begging somebody at this point, somebody who's been off 8 months with devastating injuries and eats a block of steel to the face can still hit a picture-perfect suicide dive. I'm not saying that he doesn't do a good suicide dive. I'm not saying he's not a good wrestler. I'm just saying he sells less than Cena. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And please, this is mercifully is over quickly. Lesnar and Rollins have a stare down in the back. Heyman tries to get the better of it, and he says, "Let's get rid of Cena." Basically, let's get rid of Cena. We have a common enemy. Once we work together, we get rid of Cena. We can figure out who's the better man, and blah blah blah. Brie versus Paige come along to cheer me up a lot. Hard collar and elbow tie up to start. Obviously, Natty and Tyson Kidd and Nikki Bella are on the outside. Stiff elbow to the face, again and again and again by Paige. Multiple knees in the ropes by Paige, like she does when she hangs the head on the outside and sort of leans and just gives one knee after another, and it's fucking gorgeous. Not to be outdone, Brie hits a running knee of her own. Multiple headbutts by Paige is always a cool thing to see. Tyson distracts her for reasons unknown other than his ongoing on-again, off-again, non-existent thing with the Bellas. Tyson distracts, Brie gets a quick roll-up, Brie wins, Paige slaps the taste out of Tyson Kidd's mouth after the match, and Natty laughs at him. 'Cause she's awesome, I suppose. In the back, we see a shot of John Cena playing Mr. Deep in Thought. I've got moral quandaries, and I've got a lot to think about, like my 4 or 5 cars and my big house that I get from sucking Triple H's dick. Something like that. We see a promo from Bray Wyatt about the Rumble, which is great, and it's Bray Wyatt, so I'm not even going to try to tell you what he said, because if you really want to see it, you can go back and see it, and I wouldn't do it justice, would I? No. Ascension versus Jobbers, they destroy. It's fun times. Ambrose has the Shrink in tears by the end. The Shrink is using Ambrose as a shrink, and Ambrose says, you know, don't listen to them about what you did when you were younger. It's not going to make you go blind. This, that, and the next thing. He gets him to sign the waiver so that Dean Ambrose can, in fact, participate in the Royal Rumble. Then he puts him down. He insults him. He leaves him a sniveling mess on the Shrink couch. And the last thing he says to him is, yes, it is, in fact, really weird that you pee sitting down. Which is funny. Rusev comes out. He's mocking Ryback for being... Rusev and Lana, I should say, come out. They're mocking Ryback for being fired. They thank the Authority. They sarcastically thank John Cena. Rusev goes on a tear about how Ryback is lucky that he got fired because he saves himself basically from being destroyed by Rusev. Ambrose comes out and mauls Rusev, which is fantastic, which leads us to, during the break, the beginning of an Ambrose versus Rusev match. Ambrose sells the knee injury from last week. I want to pause here. Ambrose is selling the injured knee from last Monday's ambulance match. Daniel Bryan takes steel steps to the face and within a minute is hitting a picture-perfect suicide dive on Kane. Ambrose. Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan. Just saying. Ambrose sells the knee. Rusev works the knee with a leg vine and punches and kicks and all kinds of things until he ties up Ambrose's knee in the ring ropes and tackles it, which is a brilliant looking little spot there. Ambrose attempts a tornado DDT and he gets tossed off very easily by Rusev. Slingshot clothesline by Ambrose, top rope elbow to the standing. I like this top rope thing. It's everybody expects a top rope elbow drop to be on a down opponent. It's like if you go into the video games, you have your standing opponent moves and you have your down opponent moves. Nobody really predicts, even now that we've been seeing it for a couple of weeks, to see the diving elbow drop on a standing opponent, because what it does is it ends up hitting you in the shoulder or right along the muscle right here, which would hurt a lot, especially with the point of the elbow. But he does that, and Rusev gets him stuck in the corner, and he does basically what Austin used to do when he used to stomp the mud hole on somebody in the corner, but he's very specific to the leg. The psychology of this is great. Lifts him up, hangs him up in the tree of woe, and just simply starts punching him in the knee. It's simple, it's great, it's wonderful. The match ends by ref stoppage. Rusev hits a super kick on Ambrose after the match while he's protesting to the ref. This will go on. This will be the replacement for Rusev versus Ryback, I'm guessing, and I am okay with that. Ambrose has a mini chase against the unstoppable Rusev, who probably has Authority backing while he doesn't. Maybe gets his US title back in the process. Maybe gets to be the one to break the streak. All good things should come to Ambrose. Now, in the final segment of the night, there's a lot of talking. a lot. I'm going to try and summarize this as much as I can. It is the contract signing for the Royal Rumble's triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. They push $9.99 and we go on. Rollins comes out, Cena comes out, Lesnar comes out with Heyman. Heyman comes out and sarcastically puts over Rollins for how well he used Cena and embellishes on that a lot. Rollins tries to thank Heyman for what he's saying. Heyman gives him the "I'm not finished. You did all this great stuff, but my client, Brock Lesnar, conquers everything. And that is the end of my statement." And I like that a lot. Heyman then turns his attention to Triple H. He says that the triple threat match is a double cross and it screws over his client because his client doesn't have to be pinned to win and all that sort of thing. And Rollins comes back, very rightfully so, with, "Oh, thanks, Paul. You've just explained the rules to every triple threat match that's ever happened." The sarcasm between Rollins and Heyman in this segment is a lot better than how I'm making it sound. He then goes on a tirade and he says, "What, are you saying that the great Brock Lesnar can't handle it?" And Heyman tries to cut in. He says, "I'm not finished." And even everybody in the crowd's like, "Ooh," he just cut off Heyman, who's like the promo guy now. He lists off Lesnar's accomplishments the way Heyman did earlier, and then he lists off his own: building and destroying the Authority, bringing back the... building and destroying the Shield, bringing back the Authority, retiring the 3 guys that got fired, and then defeating Cena tonight on Raw. And he says whether it's Plan A, pointing at everybody, or Plan B, pointing at the briefcase, I'm going to walk out with the championship. Are you in or not? Signs the thing, moves on. Lesnar says... Lesnar grabs the microphone from Heyman and he looks around the ring and he says, "I conquered The Undertaker," points at Triple H. "I conquered him," points at Cena. "I conquered him. I can conquer you." Signs it. Cena looks at Lesnar and says, "Yeah, you don't have to be pinned to lose your championship at the Royal Rumble, but you will be, because you and me should beat the shit out of Rollins, and then you and I can go at it," which is great. And Rollins points out that Cena's plans always seem to fail. You know, you wanted to get rid of the Authority, strike 1. You wanted to try and get your friends back tonight, strike 2. And at the Royal Rumble, that you will fail, and that will be strike 3. Takes a swing at Cena. Cena tries to get at him. Lesnar, here's where it gets good. Lesnar German suplexes Rollins and Cena. Neither one of them sell fuck all, because Cena immediately turns around, AA on Lesnar through the table, but that distraction leads to Rollins getting a curb stomp on Cena, and then a curb stomp on Lesnar, who just went through the table. So, in a ring consisting of Seth Rollins, J&J Security, the Authority, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena, Rollins is the only one left standing. That is a high point of the night. That was a high point of the night. Reigns versus Harper wasn't that bad. The Paige versus Brie wasn't bad. I liked the New Day versus the Masters of the WWE Universe. That was okay. Miz versus Uso was shit, but at least the right guy won. 36 minutes of Cena to start the show, and then a Big Show promo. And bullshit Naomi booking. And we got Macho Man going into the Hall of Fame, and that's great. Like, all joking, all kidding, and all me being tired aside, that is fucking wonderful. I want to be excited about the cool shit that happened in this Raw tonight, but it dragged, and there was a lot of shit. So, good stuff happened. I wish I was more excited. You guys know me. I'm that guy. I'm the one that gets shit these days in the YWC for apparently pulling sunshine out of my ass, according to Preston and Alex. But it's true. For the most part, I enjoy the product more than the average YWC member seems to be. But, I mean, even me with my super positive outlook and frame of mind, I can't sit here and say that this was a great show. I just can't. Anyways, better things next week. We got a lot of legends. That's always fun. Hopefully Daniel Bryan won't fuck up another Raw. And we will move on and on and on towards WrestleMania. And as long as we don't have a goat in the main event of WrestleMania, I will be a happy kid. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. I'm tired. Fuck this shit. I'm Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Wake me up and tell me that you liked this Raw. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.